Okay, so like everyone ready to jump into the future.
Oh, well,
I am so fascinated by all this stuff, like personalized videos from universities using AI. It seems wild, but it's already happening.
yeah, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. The future of higher education, all the trends, all the challenges, and the amazing opportunities coming up in 2025 and beyond.
Buckle up, everyone. Whether you're a student, a parent, or just curious about the future of learning, this deep dive is for you.
Right on. We've got a stack of articles here from some leading sources in higher ed.
Like Voltido, Archer Education, EAB, UPCEA, some real heavy hitters.
Yeah, and they're all pointing to some pretty major shifts in how we think about college and careers.
So let's start with that AI thing. I mean, that's everywhere these days, right? Like AI image generators are blowing up on social media. But universities are using AI to make personalized videos for prospective students. That's next level.
It is next level, and
Yeah.
it's already happening. Vilty one of the articles we have here really digs into how schools are using this tech to stand out from the crowd.
So it's not just like a generic welcome video. It's like tailored to your interests.
Exactly. Imagine a virtual campus tour that adapts based on what you say you're interested in.
So if I'm into science, it'll show me the labs, and if I'm an artist, it'll highlight the studios. That's so cool.
Right. Or a message that feels tailor-made for where you are in the application process.
So like if I'm just starting to research schools, it'll be different from if I've already applied.
Precisely. It's all about making that personal connection, making you feel like you matter.
Like you're more than just an application number.
Exactly. But, there's also this whole ethical debate around it. Like, is it authentic? Is the AI truly representing the school or just generating what it thinks you want to see? That's something the weekly Higher Ed Trends article brought up, and it's a valid concern.
Yeah, you don't want it to feel too slick or robotic, right? The human touch still matters a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting things right, another trend we're seeing is this push for admissions and marketing departments to be on the same page.
Oh my God, yes. I remember when I was applying to colleges, I got this super modern email from the marketing team.
Yep.
All flashy graphics and cool language.
Right.
But then the actual application materials felt like they were from a different century. Totally killed the vibe.
I can imagine the power of collaboration. That's what the Archer Education article calls it. And they're spot on. The schools that are really nailing recruitment understand that the message needs to be consistent and trustworthy from your very first interaction all the way through enrolling.
Right. It's like if a company had an amazing sales pitch, but then their customer service was terrible, you'd be like, wait, what happened?
Exactly. And it erodes trust. If a university can't even get their internal communication straight, how can you trust them to provide a coherent educational experience? That makes you think.
Sure. So, okay, you've got students excited, they're applying, but then the real challenge begins. How do colleges keep those students engaged and on track to actually graduate? Retention is a huge issue, and it's not getting any easier.
It's a massive issue, and it's only getting more complex. The EAB article highlights three major challenges that universities are facing when it comes to retention.
Okay, hit me.
First, the student body itself is changing. We're seeing more first-generation students, more minority students, and more adult learners, all with their own unique needs and challenges.
Right. The traditional support systems might not cut it anymore.
Exactly. These students might need extra help with things like financial aid, academic advising, or even just navigating the culture of higher education.
It's like starting a new job in a completely different country. You need someone to show you the ropes.
Exactly. So some universities are creating more personalized support services, like mentorship programs or peer-to-peer support groups. Others are offering flexible scheduling options and online courses to cater to the needs of working adults.
So it's about recognizing that one size doesn't fit all anymore and providing more tailored support.
Precisely. But it's not just about internal challenges, right? Universities are also facing more competition than ever before.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not just other universities vying for students anymore.
Right. That's the second challenge EAB brings up. We've got boot camps, online programs, all sorts of alternative education providers promising faster, cheaper, and more career-focused options.
So is the traditional four-year degree becoming obsolete? Is that what we're saying?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It really depends on your field, your aspirations, your learning style.
Yeah.
Some people thrive in that structured academic environment, while others prefer a more hands-on, self-directed approach.
And then there's technology, which is both a blessing and a curse. It can personalize learning, make it more accessible, and prepare students for a digital workforce.
Definitely.
But there's also that fear that automation will devalue certain degrees, leaving graduates unprepared for the job market. That's scary.
It is. That's the third challenge EAB highlights. It's like Universities are trying to hit a moving target. They need to equip students for jobs that might not even exist yet, while still upholding the core values of a liberal arts education.
It's a tough balancing act.
Yeah.
So how are they doing it? Are there any schools out there actually cracking the code?
Some are, and the UPCEA article, Bridging the Gap, offers some really interesting insights. It emphasizes the power of collaboration, not just between departments within a university, but between universities and the business world itself.
Okay, so how does that work in practice? How are they actually bridging that gap?
Think internships, guest lectures from industry professionals, even joint research projects where students get hands-on experience in real-world settings.
So it's about blurring the lines between the classroom and the workplace, making sure students are getting practical skills alongside the theoretical knowledge.
Exactly. And it benefits everyone. Students gain real-world experience, faculty stay current with industry trends, and companies get early access to top talent. It's a win-win-win.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked a lot about undergrads, but what about folks who are already in the workforce, people looking to upskill or change careers later in life?
That's a crucial piece of the puzzle, and the UPCEA Growth Playbook article really dives into this. Continuing education is booming, but it needs to evolve to stay relevant in this rapidly changing world.
So what are the key takeaways for people looking to upskill or change careers? What do they need to know?
The Growth Playbook highlights 3 key areas: embracing online learning, focusing on microcredentials, and using data to understand what skills are in high demand.
Okay, break this down for me.
So online learning is obviously huge. It offers flexibility and accessibility.
Makes sense.
Microcredentials are those specialized certificates that allow you to quickly gain in-demand skills without committing to a full degree program.
Oh, those are interesting, like little badges of expertise you can collect.
Exactly. And then data-driven insights are all about understanding what skills employers are actually looking for, so you can tailor your education accordingly.
So it's about being proactive, taking ownership of your own professional development.
Exactly. It's not about passively waiting for opportunities to come your way. It's about actively seeking out the knowledge and skills you need to thrive.
I love that. But even with all these innovations, how can anyone be sure that any program, whether it's a traditional degree or a stack of micro-credentials, will truly prepare them for a future that's constantly evolving? That's a big question.
It's a huge question, and it's one we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive. Because honestly, there's no single answer, no crystal ball that tells us exactly what the future holds for higher education.
Right. It's more about understanding the forces at play and making informed choices based on your own unique goals and circumstances.
Exactly. And that's where you, the listener, come in. Because ultimately, the future of higher education isn't something that's happening to you. It's something you're actively shaping through the choices you make.
So we've got AI personalized videos, a need for collaboration between departments and with industry, and this shift towards lifelong learning and micro-credentials. It's a lot to process.
It is. But it's also incredibly exciting. Higher education is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and it's creating some amazing opportunities for students and professionals alike.
Well, stay tuned, everyone, because in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore those opportunities in even more detail. We'll talk about how to navigate this new landscape, how to make informed choices about your education, and how to future-proof your career in a world that's constantly changing.
Can't wait.
So we're talking about a future where education is more personalized and flexible, driven by technology, and a need for constant adaptation. But is this really attainable for everyone?
That's a great question, and it ties right back into that whole debate about the traditional 4-year degree and, its evolving value.
Right. We touched on this earlier. Is a bachelor's degree becoming more about personal growth and exploration while you hone those specialized skills through things like continuing education and microcredentials?
That's a question that a lot of experts are grappling with right now. In fact, the Weekly Higher Ed Trends article even flagged this as like a potentially controversial idea. Is a bachelor's degree losing its relevance in certain fields?
It's like that age-old debate, liberal arts versus vocational training, but amped up for the digital age.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to figure that out?
It's definitely complex, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It really depends on the field, your career goals, your personal learning style. Some people thrive in that more structured academic setting, while others really prefer a hands-on, self-directed approach.
So much to consider. It's like trying to choose a path in one of those choose-your-own-adventure books, but there are a million different endings. How can listeners figure out what's right for them?
One thing that really stood out to me in the research was this need for more data-driven decision-making in higher education. The UPCEA Growth Playbook really hammers this point home.
You mean using data to figure out like what skills are actually in high demand so universities can design programs that actually prepare students for the workforce?
Exactly. And it's not just for universities.
Yeah.
Individuals can leverage data too. Imagine a future where you have this dashboard that shows you the hottest skills in your field, the average salaries for those roles, and the most effective educational pathways to get there.
Wow, that would be incredible. It's like having a personalized career GPS guiding you towards your goals.
That's the power of data-driven insights. It's about empowering institutions and individuals to make informed choices.
Uh-huh.
So on the institution side, it helps them design programs that meet actual market needs rather than relying on, outdated assumptions.
And on the individual side, it takes some of the guesswork out of career planning. You can invest your time and money in education that has a clear return on investment. But I imagine data alone isn't enough. There's still that human element, right?
You're absolutely right. Data is a powerful tool, but it needs to be paired with another crucial piece of the puzzle, and that's personalization.
We talked about AI personalizing marketing materials, but you're suggesting this goes even deeper.
Much deeper. Think about it. In the past, education was largely a one-size-fits-all model. You go to class, you listen to lectures, you take exams, and hope for the best. But the future of learning is much more individualized. It recognizes that everyone learns differently.
So instead of everyone crammed into the same lecture hall, we're talking about learning experiences tailored to your specific needs, interests, and goals.
Exactly. And technology plays a huge role here. Online learning platforms can track your progress, identify your strengths and weaknesses, and even adjust the curriculum in real time to optimize your learning experience.
It's like having a personal tutor built into the system, constantly adapting to your individual needs.
That's a great analogy. And this personalized approach is crucial for meeting the needs of that diverse student body we talked about earlier. First-generation students, minority students, adult learners, everyone comes to the table with a unique set of experiences and challenges.
So instead of trying to force everyone into the same mold, we're recognizing that different people learn best in different ways and creating customized pathways to success.
I like that. It's about empowering individuals to learn in a way that works best for them. But there's another element that we can't overlook here, and that's support systems.
Right. It's not enough to just throw technology at the problem and expect everyone to figure it out on their own. Students need guidance, mentorship, and a sense of community, especially those who are navigating higher education for the first time.
Absolutely. And this is where universities have a real opportunity to shine. They can create learning communities, both online and offline, where students can connect with each other, get support from advisors and mentors, and build a sense of belonging.
It's like the best aspects of the traditional college experience, that sense of community and camaraderie, but reimagined for the 21st century. You're still getting that personal connection and guidance, but it's delivered in a way that fits your modern lifestyle.
Exactly. And this support shouldn't stop at graduation. Universities can become lifelong learning hubs, offering alumni ongoing access to professional development resources, networking opportunities, even career counseling.
So it's not just about getting that degree, it's about becoming part of a community that supports your growth and success throughout your career. I really like that vision.
It's a vision where higher education is more personalized, more flexible, and more relevant to the needs of both individuals and the workforce. It's exciting.
It is exciting, but it also requires a pretty big shift in mindset. We need to move away from that traditional view of college as like a 4-year pit stop on the way to a career and embrace it as a lifelong journey of learning and growth.
And that's a journey that requires constant adaptation, experimentation, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. It's not always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding.
So the big question is, are universities up to the challenge? Can they evolve fast enough to keep pace with the changing needs of students and the demands of a rapidly evolving workforce? That is the question, isn't it? Can higher ed really adapt and keep up with all these changes?
Yeah, it's a tough one. There's no magic formula, no crystal ball that tells us what's next. But we can definitely look at the trends and the challenges and see where things are headed.
So based on what we've talked about today, what are some of the key things our listeners should be thinking about?
Well, one of the biggest shifts is this move away from that one-size-fits-all model of education. Everyone in the same classroom learning the same things.
Right, like that factory model of
Yeah,
education.
exactly. And we're moving towards a much more personalized approach. Technology is a big driver here, with things like customized learning pathways, data-driven insights, and more flexible ways to learn.
And it's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about a change in mindset, too. Lifelong learning is becoming the new normal, and universities need to embrace that by offering more continuing education options, micro-credentials, those things we talked about, and support systems that don't just disappear after graduation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that education isn't just a one-time event.
Yeah.
It's a continuous journey of growth and adaptation.
Right. Like you're never really done learning.
Exactly. Another key theme that keeps popping up is the importance of collaboration. We're seeing more partnerships between universities and businesses, between different departments within institutions, and even between students themselves through online learning communities.
Yeah, those collaborations are so important for making sure what's being taught in the classroom actually connects with what's happening in the real world. It's about preparing graduates for the jobs of today and tomorrow.
Exactly. And those partnerships can also help universities deal with the challenges they're facing. Like competition from those alternative education providers and the pressure to keep up with all the new technology.
It's like they can share resources and learn from each other.
Right, exactly. By working together, they can create a much more dynamic and responsive educational ecosystem.
It sounds like higher education is at a crossroads. There's all this incredible potential, but also some serious obstacles to overcome. It's true. But I'm optimistic. I think we're at the beginning of a truly transformative period in education. And ultimately, the future isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're all creating through the choices we make.
I like that. So it's not about predicting the future, it's about shaping it.
Exactly. And that brings us back to you, the listener. We've given you a glimpse into the trends shaping higher education in 2025 and beyond. Now it's your turn. What does the future of your education look like?
What a great question. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for everyone to think about. If you could design your ideal learning experience, what would it look like? Would it be on a traditional college campus, an online program, maybe a blend of both? What skills would you focus on? Who would you want as your mentors?
These are important questions to consider. There's no right or wrong answer. It's about finding what works best for you, your goals, your learning style.
And that's what's so exciting about this moment. There are so many options, so many possibilities. The key is to be proactive. Do your research and never stop learning. Well said. The future of education is full of potential, and it's up to each of us to seize the opportunities and create the learning experiences we want and need.
I love that. So on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the future of higher education. Thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a wrap on the deep dive. We'll catch you in the next episode.